Hello, I've got two fantastic books for owlets, children of 7 and under, for this month. The first is for slightly younger readers, is a Humphrey's Tiny Tales, and this is called My Creepy Crawly Camping Adventure, and this is by Betty G. Burney. And for slightly older children, a book called Stitchhead by the wonderful writer Guy Bass. First of all, the Humphrey's Tiny Tales, My Creepy Crawly Camping Adventure. Older children, possibly who are in owls now, will remember Humphrey and read the fantastic books written by Betty G. Burney, but she has now written the Humphrey's Tiny Tales for slightly younger readers, and these tales are just as fantastic as the ones for older readers. Humphrey is, as you probably know, is a delightful little hamster who lives in room 26 in school with some lovely children and some not so lovely children. Every weekend he gets to go home with one of the families, and this weekend he's going home with Heidi, and he discovers that he's actually going on a camping weekend, which actually is camping in the garden of Heidi's house, but they're going to have a lot of fun. So this is when they've just gone out into the garden. It was nice to feel the breeze in my fur and smell all kinds of interesting smells, like pine trees and roses. After a while I heard a familiar voice ask, "Is Humphrey here?" It was Miranda, who is also in room 26. Her name is Miranda Golden, but because she has golden hair, I call her Golden Miranda. "We're having a camping night," I squeaked. Speak Up Sire, who was a quiet girl, was with Miranda. "I'm so glad you can be with us, Humphrey," she said in her soft, sweet voice. Soon Gail arrived too. "Is Humphrey going to sleep outside in the tent with us?" she asked. "Yes," Heidi said. "Eek," I squeaked. I've gone to all kinds of houses and flats on my weekend outings, but I'd never slept outside before. However, if my friends were sleeping in the tent, then I would too. Stop giggling, Gail laughed, and soon everyone was having a great time. But, of course, there are the creepy crawlies to contend with. Humphrey's trying to be ever so brave, and then there are other problems to overcome as well. Very exciting book, and I'm sure younger children will absolutely adore reading it on their own or reading together with parents, grandparents, friends, and so on. For slightly older readers, Stitchhead by Guy Bass. And Stitchhead, this book is beautifully illustrated, absolutely incredible illustrations by the wonderful Pete Williamson. So I do hope you will enjoy the illustrations as much as reading the book. Now, Stitchhead is a creation of a rather mad professor, and he lives in Castle Groskew, and Stitchhead has rather been forgotten as one of the earlier creations. I'm going to read just from near the beginning of the book a bit of a description about Stitchhead. Stitchhead was the professor's very first creation. He was a strange-looking something or other, more or less human-shaped, but no bigger than a medium-sized monkey, and made up of bits, pieces and spare parts that the professor had managed to find. His bald round head was a patchwork of stitches, and his eyes were a different colour. While the left was a small black bead, the right was large, bright and ice blue. This eye was a sight to behold. It almost seemed to glow in the castle's dimly lit corners. Over the years, Stitchhead had witnessed the birth of dozens of the professor's creations, and with each one he was reminded how once he was the most important creation in the professor's life, that he and the professor had promised to be friends for the rest of their days. But that was an almost lifetime ago. Now, Stitchhead was long forgotten. Well, Stitchhead thinks that maybe he's got a bit of a new life now. He actually finds a friend in one of the new creations, a creature, and in the village, Fulbert Freakfinder and his amazing travelling circus arrive, and Fulbert promises to make Stitchhead a bit of a star, but Stitchhead has quite a few problems to overcome before that could possibly happen. Now, I hope you're going to enjoy the books. I hope you're going to print out the activities that we've written specially to accompany these, and you can also read interviews on our website by Guy Bass and Betty G. Burney in Ed's Interviews.